Welcome to the New World Order Showcase Podcast. Your host, Jill Hart, the Coach's Alchemist. Couldn't be more excited to have you join us today. On this podcast, we celebrate the champions of change, the up-and-coming life, health and transformational coaches who are fearlessly stepping forward to make a difference in the world. Get ready for inspiring stories, practical tips, and powerful moments that will motivate you to make a positive change in your life and those around you. We're happy to have you join us on this incredible journey as we dive into the world of life, health, and transformational coaches who are lighting up the path towards a better tomorrow.
Hi, and welcome to the New World Order Showcase podcast. I'm your host, Jill Hart, and with us today is Alyssa McCabe. Alyssa focuses on QuickBooks Online, which we will refer to as QBO in our conversation. So make a note of that. And all the apps that support it and to streamline the processes for coaches. Her main goal, showing coaches how to spend more quality time with friends and family and how to increase profits without hiring a staff. Gotta love that. Welcome to the show, Alyssa.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here and talk with you.
I am excited to hear all about what you've got going on because I think it's just one of those things that most entrepreneurs need, but don't even recognize it until it's usually too late. And then they're like drowning.
Well, and so this is a conversation I have with entrepreneurs all the time. They come to us and they're embarrassed about the state of their books. They're like, oh, you don't want to look at my bookkeeping. It's terrible. Oh, well. And I have to tell them, and it's like, but I don't know how to do what you do. If you're a hairdresser or you work in HVAC or you're a coach, should I be good at that too? No, I don't know how to do those things. So I know how to do these things. And what we realized, because my company, First Steps Financial, handles bigger clients. We work on small to mid-sized firms. But then we realized there's a whole host of people out there who do their own bookkeeping. And why should they suffer through doing it badly? And then we started realizing that we streamlined all our processes. My company's 100% remote, and we utilize technology as much as we can. And we decided we're going to share all these secrets that made our company successful. And we are focusing on coaches because we love coaches. We have a coach, and it's made a total difference in our company. So we thought, who can we help? Let's help these coaches so that they can in turn help more people. Because go ahead, I'm sorry.
I love that. And coaches, and it used to be back 40 years ago that when you started a business, you either had to go to bookkeeping school and actually learn how to keep books with, all the ledger and all the little receipts. And when I took bookkeeping, I was a lifeguard at the same time. So I would take all my little kit because they give you a kit and you'd stick it in the sand. So it was quite the thing. But now you can, because of technology, you can actually learn to keep your books in a nice, simple manner because they can all talk to each other, all the different things that you're doing.
And that's so we created this. It's on this platform called School, and the name of the group is called the Smart Boss, and it is all about using QBO, QuickBooks Online, to do all your invoicing and do it quickly and efficiently and collect payments so that you don't have to do anything with it. It's all done. It's all automated. And then other things, like if you have a contract with a client, we have, software that you can use that works with QuickBooks Online. And then if you're already using something, maybe that is particular to your type of coaching, we can utilize Zapier, which connects those things that aren't innately connected. And we show you how to use it. And a lot of the stuff is already built inside of Zapier, and you can just use it. And it's really easy. It's not complicated, because believe me, we want things to be as simple as possible.
I love
Because
Zapier.
oh
It's got so many recipes already done for you.
yes,
It's just like, is this what you're trying to do? And you're like, oh yes, thank you.
it is. They have hundreds and hundreds of apps that they already innately connect. And you can go in and just pick which one you want. So, we use HubSpot too. So if you're using HubSpot as your CRM, you can actually go in and pick what you want to connect. It doesn't have to be everything. It can be just certain things. So we really love that. We also love task management systems. Now, look, we're all accountants, so we love all the things to be organized. But for coaches, one of the things that we've found is having a task list that you can replicate when you work with your clients. Have I sent out the contract? Have I set up the first meeting? Have I explained how this works? Have I done all these things? And having Asana set up so that you can replicate those things has made their lives so much easier. And it was a game changer for us when we implemented Asana in our company. And we have found it to be so valuable for the clients we use for a small and mid-size internally, and for the coaches that we work with.
It's just these little apps that you can connect it all together, that just, they take over the place of having a staff.
It really is. It takes the place of so when I started my company 15 years ago, my first hire was an admin person, because there wasn't all these things. I needed someone to push paper around. I needed somebody to make sure this was done and have this signed and do all that. And I no longer have an admin person. I have a chief of staff. And we don't push any papers. And she just oversees and makes sure that everything gets done for me and for the company. So it's much less of an admin position, because so many things are automated. She just makes sure that all the systems are working. So
they're all talking to each other. You don't even have to really like keep your books anymore, because it just feeds into the QuickBooks system. And you hook for people that don't understand, you just hook your bank account up to QuickBooks. So every time you make a debit or you spend money on your credit cards, you put your credit cards, which should be in your business name, not your personal name. You connect it to your QuickBooks account, and then it automatically puts it where it's supposed to go.
It does.
It's just like,
and it comes in, and we teach people how to connect those bank accounts, connect your credit card account, and then how to categorize. And then the magic is to set up rules so that every time, so people think like, well, no, I do this and I do that, and it's all very different. It's not. I'm sorry. But in general, everybody goes to the same places all the time. There's very few outliers. So 80% of your categorizations can be done with rules. So you will spend, we tell people, you'll only spend 15 minutes a week on your books. That's it. And then once a month, you're going to spend 30 minutes. You're going to reconcile your bank accounts, reconcile your credit card accounts, and then you're going to run some reporting. And that reporting will make sure that what it will tell you is where you are financially. It'll tell you if something's off. It'll tell you if something's become disconnected. If one of the apps that comes in, it will tell you if something's off. And we have these key things that we want you to look at and that you're going to look at every month. And we teach this in the course. And in addition to that, we actually have, when you become a member, we have a meeting every Friday at noontime Eastern Standard Time. So anybody, even on the West Coast, you could join us. We have an open forum. You can come in and ask us questions. And everyone, it's myself and Mark Chinese is my co-host. Everybody is advanced certified in QuickBooks Online. And some people from my team actually come in and you can ask any question. We had someone come in and say, my Stripe account has become disconnected from my QuickBooks and stuff is not flowing in. And right on the spot, we said, do this, do that. And she's like, oh my God, that fixed it. And we told her, so there was a gap because things weren't coming in. So it might have been like a couple of weeks that she had all these transactions that didn't come in. And we told her how to fix that too. So it allows us to be, with you. You can ask any questions. If by some chance you have created a kerfluffle or some sort of large issue that goes beyond what we can fix, you have the ability inside of school to put time on our calendar for a paid hour. Now, how many times would you have to do this? Maybe once a year. And you can do it anytime. You can actually go in and say, hey, can you just review my books for me? We're more than happy to do that. But it's totally free to come in on Friday, ask any question. We usually pick a subject to talk about, something new that's come up. QuickBooks in the last few years, they now have a QuickBooks checking account inside of QuickBooks. And the nice thing about it is that they had envelopes inside. So you could take the money that comes in from your consulting work and you could move it to a folder like, okay, I know I got to pay 25% in taxes. Let me move it to a taxes folder. I know that I have to pay this bill at the end of the month. So you can move it to folders, which was a really neat system. So we talked about that. And when you move things to the folders, they got paid a higher interest rate. So it was 5%. It's down to 3%, but it's still more than most bank accounts are paying.
Yeah.
And it's easy to use. And so we teach people how to use these things, how to use them easily so that you don't have to think about it for more than 15 minutes a week. And so that's our goal.
That's so huge. And talk to people about the school communities. It's kind of a new and upcoming thing.
Yeah.
Some of us follow Hermosi, so we're
So Hermosi's great to follow because he is larger than life for sure. And the school community is new. It's a new program. And I love the vibe around it because it is really people helping each other. Everybody that's in there, there's only one other group that I have been a part of that has this energy of people wanting to help other people. And that's what I think is unique about the school community is you can go in there and like in our internal school community, you go on anytime and ask questions and we're there all the time answering questions. And other people get involved like, oh, I have that same problem. I don't even know how I did it, but we talk about different things in there and the overall school community is very similar. I can go in at any time and say like, hey, I have a question. Like, I'm not sure how to do this inside of my community. And they're there and they support you and they have great contests. They have like school games that you can go in and they have different contests, which are fun. And they really know how to build community. And that's
that
what I
was
love
Sam
about it.
Evans' whole goal with school was to gamify education and to make it fun to learn. And you go in and it's different than Facebook. Facebook communities, yeah, there's tabs, but nobody ever looks at the tabs, no matter how many times you tell them. But in school, it's set up. There's a classroom area. You go there if you want to learn something. And you can open it up depending on how interactive your community is with each other. So the goal is to, get people talking to each other on the platform, not necessarily in DMs, because you only get 10 DMs a week. So you have to use them judiciously.
Yes, which I love about that because it makes you build a community. It forces you to do that. And I just think that in an age where so many people feel alone, this is about building community, and it's about leaning on each other and everybody moving forward together. And we're so all about that. We just feel like we want to give this information to people. We want to help people create successful businesses. It's with so many businesses failing, it's some ridiculous amount, like 60% fail after 3 years. We want to change that number. And we know that what we do is actually the lifeblood of the business, because you can go out and make as many sales as you want, but if you're not tracking it and you're not profitable, you can't keep doing the good work you do.
For sure. For sure. And I'm going to just mention one other benefit of the school community. Everything in there is searchable.
Oh.
You were talking about the gal whose Stripe account got disconnected. Yeah. Well, the next person that comes along and they're like, "Oh my God, my Stripe account has been," you don't have to wait till next week to come to the meeting. You can just search for a Stripe disconnect, and yes. All the content that's related to that will pop up. And if somebody's in the community right then, you can ask them about it. You can just go watch the video again. Yep. And it's
that's the other thing. It's like every resource stays right there. You don't have to go like, oh, where can I find this? And it, like you were saying about Facebook, you got to like dig into the tabs. School, you can search by it. And the Friday meetings we record, and they're there for everybody to watch. And if you if you search, you can do it by it has it in increments too, like in videos. So you can see like where they're talking about this, and it's outstanding. It's one of the best learning tools I've seen out there, because we've looked at Kajabi, and there's a whole bunch of other programs out there. And I have to say that this does it in twofold, where it's education and it's fun education, and it has that community. And I think that is people helping other people is really where it's what coaches do. I mean, if you think about it, it's like that's their whole job.
Yeah. And it's fun, and you actually make real connections with other people. And in a community like yours, where there's a whole bunch of people doing a whole bunch of different things, it just makes it fun.
It does
feel like you're part of a group that's going somewhere and doing something. And it's around a subject that, most people are like, "Oh, I don't do math."
Well, and most of the time, and this happens with accounting, people's eyes glaze over. And I get it. I totally get it. I know that I have an issue. I love accounting, and my support group is my team, because they all love accounting too. We've banded together. But it's something that we can take the ick out of accounting.
Part of the problem with accounting, I know for me, this was my problem with accounting. I grew up, and because we moved around a lot, I had a really poor math background of foundation. It was like, I just didn't get math, because I was in like 4 3rd grade classes when you start to learn math. So I was just like hopeless my whole life when it came to math. But accounting is not math.
It's not.
It's puzzle solving.
Yeah.
You get they're just number puzzles. And when I took that approach to accounting and bookkeeping specifically, I was like, I love bookkeeping. I hate math, but I love bookkeeping, because
it is.
Where is that number? And is it really like 100 here and 99 there? Or is it really a penny?
Yeah. Well, and so that's the big difference. If you don't love calculus and algebra, good, because we're not asking you to do that. Yeah. It really is about, and it's so funny that you say it's puzzles. Everyone on my team loves mystery novels. Yeah. They love to search and find things. And so we have really like boiled this down to a very simplified approach so that anyone can do this. I taught my high school kids how to do bookkeeping because it's actually an important skill to know, because it's about, knowing how much money is in your checkbook and knowing how it got there, what came in and what's going out, and how much money do you get to keep, and starting to think of those things in percentages. So if all my money comes in and then 30% goes out in expenses, oh, wait a minute, I have 70% I can keep. Ooh, what can I do with this? And working on that level of starting to understand, of thinking of it. And this goes into the reporting that we do, because I have a favorite report, and I know that's such a nerdy thing, but I really do. I have a favorite report that I try to teach all business owners, and it's the profit and loss by percent of income. Because what happens is it tells you where your money's going. So you know how much money comes in, and it gives you that number. You brought in $1,000 this month, and it tells you where all your money is going out. Are you paying insurance? Are you paying fees on, QuickBooks? Are you paying for your QuickBooks file? Any other fees that you have to pay, and then what you're left with at the end. But it tells you in a percentage, so that every time you make a sale, every time you gain a new client, and you tell them, okay, my fees are X amount per month, X amount per hour, what percentage of that is going to go out as insurance, what percentage is going to go out as any other fees that you have. And you're going to know every month what you're going to be left over with. I might be left over with 50%. And I know that 25% should be put aside for taxes. And those things, when you start to think about it in that framework, it just makes it easier, because you can keep those in your head. And then when you look at your books, it confirms what you're already thinking. And it allows you to be a profitable business owner. And that allows you to ensure that ongoing success. And so I know I get very excited about these things. So I will keep talking about them, but I hope it does. The experience that we're getting and the feedback that we're getting from our members is that it really is making something that was scary, something that was their whole life being afraid of doing it, has brought it down to a very simple thought or way of thinking about the subject.
Yeah. And my hat's off to you, because it's really one of those important things that, as a solopreneur, and most coaches are solopreneurs these days,
Yeah.
you're not really taught how to be an entrepreneur in school.
No.
And you may have learned math in school, and you may have maybe you learned personal finance in school,
Mhm.
most likely not. But it's just like the world has changed and
Mhm.
continues to change, and we're embracing technology. And this is just like, it's moved something that was more complicated and you really did need to hire a professional to do, to it's 15 minutes a week, 30 minutes a month. And
Yep.
then you have everything you need to take to your accountant at the end of the year and
Oh,
say, hey, here it all is. You plug in the numbers, or it's sometimes some of the tax software will just like hook into your QuickBooks and look at the reports and do your taxes for you if it's not that
absolutely.
complicated. And
We
I
have
know
it had
TurboTax is that way.
TurboTax.
I
Yes.
love TurboTax.
And so some of our coaches do their own taxes, which cracks me up, because they will do it. And so it does. QuickBooks connects with TurboTax. And so you can do it. And QuickBooks also connects with almost all accounting, CPA's accounting tax software. So
Yeah.
it's a good plug-in method. These, when you are, you can't feel bad about not knowing how to do this. because that's the way life is. We don't know how to do everything. We aren't born with that knowledge, and really taking the moment to learn how to be an entrepreneur, this is part of it. And I know a lot of people are accidental entrepreneurs, and I'm sure you talk to them all the time, that they just start doing something they're super passionate about. And I will share a secret with you. That was me. I was passionate about trying to help small businesses become successful. So one of the first things that I did, one of the first huge errors that I made, is I didn't have a separate bank account. And it was a very humbling experience to try and sort through personal and business and separating them. And so that can happen to anybody. I learned my lesson. And this was before QuickBooks Online was a big thing. But having QuickBooks Online makes things so much easier. And especially with the program that we provide, because we're there to support you. You don't have to go it alone. You have a community, you have experts you can reach out to at any time, and it's at no cost beyond, the school program. It's, the Smart Boss, you get a week for free, which I think I forgot to mention. So it's a free trial. You can come in and look around. Included in the free trial is how to set up a QuickBooks file. It teaches you soup to nuts, how to get in there, purchase it, open it up. And I do have to say, I talk about this when in the school program. QuickBooks offers live bookkeeping help. Now, my other company gets a lot of business cleaning up this live bookkeeping help. So I'm just saying, I don't suggest you use it. You can, but I'm just saying it's cost people money. So they don't really, QuickBooks hasn't quite figured out how to do live bookkeeping help. And it's basically because of the system that they use. When you connect with the live bookkeeping, you just get who's ever available. So they don't know you. They don't know your system. They don't know your business. So you get a new person every time. And that's really hard to work with.
Yeah. It's kind of like the medical world.
Oh,
It's better to have your own doctor who knows you and knows your history.
yes.
And you can go in for your 15-minute consult, because you don't have to go back through however long your life is and tell them all the things that led to this point, so that they can make a determination of what's actually wrong with you. And they don't have the time for that. So
Yeah.
you're not going to get an accurate diagnosis. So the
I-
same goes with any kind of help that you're getting. You need to know who you're talking to and what their expertise is. Same with, I know TurboTax also offers help,
Yes.
and I've used them before. I've had TurboTax for 20 years, maybe 40. I don't know. Like all a long time. And I've always done my own books, and I've always done my own taxes. But you have to approach it from the viewpoint of asking specific questions, and you have to know before you ask what the 2 or 3 most probable answers are, and just use them for confirmation. Don't ask them questions where you're trying to learn something.
Yeah.
You need to ask somebody who knows your personal situation and can spend the time with you to diagnose what the answer as a solution is based on your criteria. And that's the beauty of a membership in your school community. I'm sure it's just like,
You're dealing with,
and it's not just with you, the professionals that you bring into the community. It's other people that are in the community that have run into similar situations. So, like,
you're in the same boat. You're
yeah.
with your people, and they really do. They can help you. There's nothing like, I mean, that's why we have associations where, there's a group of coaches that get together and talk. It's because you're all have shared experiences. a client that makes you crazy, or, something like, I can't figure out how to do this, or whatever it is, you have the shared experience. And it's really, it's a great feeling to be able to go through that. I love your analogy about having a doctor. It's the same, having the same doctor time after time who knows your history. It's the same thing in coaching. Can you imagine that if every time you sought out a coach, it was a new coach every time, and you had to like explain again over and over, this is what I'm trying to do. It really, you need someone who's consistent, who you can build on each time. And that's the only way you can make progress. Because if you're back here telling your story every single time you talk to somebody, it's very hard to move forward. So, especially when there's an issue. I mean, medically, I've had issues that going to, so many different doctors, they have no idea because they don't know,
They
and
don't look at the whole picture. They only get
this much.
little, yeah, little snapshots. And accounting's the same situation. You can
Yeah.
think it's a revenue problem when it's really an expense problem, or it could be a tax problem, or it could be an investment problem, or I, there's, there's just so many different facets to it. It doesn't have to be complicated. But
No.
again, in a community, you can say, okay, this is what I've got going on.
Yeah.
What are the three most likely things that I need to be looking to solve? And then
Yeah.
you can go to QuickBooks, or if they can't
Yeah.
get a hold of you, or they can go to TurboTax, and they can say, okay, this is what I've got. And then you don't tell them the three things. You wait and see what they tell you and see if it matches up with those
Yeah.
three things. And if it's one of those three things that's a likely solution to your problem, or a likely,
Mm.
matches up, let's just put
Yeah.
it that way, then you can be pretty confident that that's probably the thing you need to look at, or the thing that you
Yeah.
need to do. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, just like randomly asking people for advice who
Is
they may or may not live overseas and not understand.
what we're trying to accomplish, for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, it's a difficult situation to be in for an entrepreneur, because sometimes you don't know what you don't know.
Mhm.
And it's interesting, when someone comes to you and you clean up their books and you look at it and you say, just so you know, you have a huge profit. And they're like, oh, that's great. We're like, yeah, it is. Except for you need to go see your CPA and do some tax planning. And the nice thing is you have really clean books. So your CPA is really going to be able to help you and be confident in those numbers. So, there's just things that when you don't know what you don't know, it makes it really difficult. And being able to have a community that you can ask questions of, that other people are like, oh yeah, like I have a great account, or I did this, or, I had to fix this and this worked. And it's really great to have that.
Yeah, for sure. So, tell everybody again about the name of your community.
So the name of our school community is called the Smart Boss, and we focus on QuickBooks Online, all the apps that connect with it to make your life easier and to make your business streamlined so that you can spend time doing what you love.
And your other business is First Steps Financial, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that's for small to mid-sized businesses, or coaches that are making how much?
Coaches.
And
So we work with people who are doing coaching and consulting between 1 and 10 million. So typically they have employees, they have a much larger structure, and they are, we're running their payroll, paying their bills. Um, and if you're looking to get to that point, ask questions in the community about how to scale your company. Because and look, this is a judgment-free zone. Let me tell you, if you want to stay the size you are, that's awesome. and you want to just build on what you have, how to do it smarter, faster, better, more efficient, that's great. If you want to scale, we can help you do that too, because we've helped our clients scale. We've taken a lot of our companies that were under $1 million to over 10 million and helped them with their processes and allowed them to streamline it so that they aren't spending a lot of money on creating the base on which everything builds on top of.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing all of this with us, Alyssa. What's the one thing you hope the audience takes away from the conversation today?
Not to be afraid of accounting, that it's part of the entrepreneurial journey and you can embrace it and know that we've taken the ick out of it.
I love that. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you, Jill. It was a pleasure talking with you.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another empowering episode of the You World Order Showcase podcast. We hope you've enjoyed hearing from our incredible life, health, and transformational coaches who are making a profound impact on the world. Remember, change begins with you, and you have the power to transform your life and the lives of others. If you want to take that next step and unlock your true potential, visit thecoachesalchemist.com, where you can find the 3 ways we can help you for free to spin your talent into gold with clarity, a system, and a plan. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you never miss an inspiring episode. And if you enjoyed today's show, we'd greatly appreciate it if you could leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your feedback means the world to us and helps us reach more people with our positive message. Stay connected with us on social media for updates, behind-the-scenes content, and upcoming guest announcements. You can find us on Facebook at the You World Order or simply visit thecoachesalchemist.com.